Oh, we're back.
Nope.
Woo!
Well, it's just checking out those moves.
What's good, Bruce?
Oh man, I mean, besides this matching combination, very vibrant accessories and clothes.
You are
Even
matching.
my mug with
killing
my
the game.
CBT matches.
CBT.
But besides that, I mean, a lot is good. A lot's good recently, surprisingly. Not necessarily from me. Let's not jump the gun, but
Some
what a
good stuff's
good week.
happening somewhere.
Yeah, it's happening somewhere. A surprising amount of it happened in Colorado this last week.
That's right.
Some of it happened in Vegas. Who would have figured? But yeah,
What happens there? What happens there stays there. So say no
it
more.
does, unless I need content for a podcast, then it can come out here.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
There's
I'm gonna
one
need
exception.
them details.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome if it's your first time. It's been a little while since we've been live, getting ourselves together here. But we got a lot to talk about in the world of the band that has no relation to this podcast, not a Goose podcast. I'm gonna talk through some news. Big stuff happened last week. Lots of press releases for your boy while I was on vacation. Come on, management. So a lot of news to talk through, and we're going to recap some epic shows. So, people have a lot of questions. We're going to get there. People want to hear about all things Bruce. But stick around today.
Goose, I think, nobody wants to hear about me. That's going to be a bad episode. We got a good one here today. Let's not do that.
That's right. That's right. But we do, Bruce, we're glad that you made it back. From the West Coast. Lots of people saying congratulations in the chat. That is fantastic. Bruce, congratulations on a safe flight home. So a lot of stuff going on in Birdland here. I mean, I don't even really know where to start. My jaw was on the floor. A year ago at this time, if you had asked us if we'd be talking about the things we're talking about today, we probably would have said no, but that's because we didn't know these things were happening at the time.
And
I don't think
I would have quit the podcast by now. Like I've tried to do 3 or 4 times.
You've been trying to quit the podcast since before the podcast started. So we're going to talk about some of this big news, and I want to let all of you know. Maybe we'll reveal the grand secret of why Bruce was congratulated.
We'll see about that.
We are going to talk about a whole lot today. Namely Traitor and Goosemas, and all of you are going to have a chance to win tickets to Goosemas and win tickets to Trey Goose at Mohegan. Ooh. So stick around because you have to listen to us talk if you want to win those tickets. So maybe you will be the Jesse McMahon of the world and win tickets to an iconic show. And
hell yeah.
Change that,
you should share that comment. You should share Jesse's comment, Greg, with everybody. And look at those glasses are straight gas. Thank you very much, my man. Straight, they really gassed. Are, And I just think, now that I am a bigger star than the band, arguably, my name being spoken on the Red Rock speakers twice, that, I figured I had to come with it with the style. I need to continue to pursue my rap career and, try to start a beef with Greg amongst other rappers in my circles.
You're calling me a rapper now. So. What's up, Mom?
Yeah, you caught me. Oh, that was a slip up. But yeah, somebody actually asked me, Greg, before the Red Rock show, if we were going to see a Greg Knight freestyle, and I said, no, we're not. We are not. I would have heard about that. Who knows how many times beforehand, everybody. So, we'll know if we do. Hey, maybe if they, get invited back to Red Rocks. I think they had a pretty successful showing. So, maybe one day we can see something like that up on the stage. But
yes,
we'll have to just settle for me.
We'll talk my ascending rap career soon. Very, very soon. I will put this little comment up from Scott and Chris. Thank you. Crush the Rap at Westville. No big deal. So let's talk about Traitor. Or TOURCH. The Torch taking over the Northeast United States. Starting 11/9.
Those CHs everywhere.
Torch. So starting 11/9, Portland, Maine, Cross Insurance Arena. 11:11, the beautiful paradise that is Lowell, Massachusetts, the Songus Arena. 11:12, Mohegan Sun. Remember that commercial?
Yes, I do. Uncasville, also something of a paradise.
Uncasville, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just around the river, just around the river bend. 11:13, Glens Falls, New York. What is this, 92 tour? Next up,
Stop.
Moon. 92 Torch. Next up after Glens Falls, Moon, Pennsylvania. Not just a moon, but it's a place in Pennsylvania at UPMC. 11:17, Fairfax, Virginia. Eagle Bank Arena. How strong of an American name. 11:18, Syracuse, New York. War Memorial Arena.
Another strong American
name. There we go. And 11:19, Reading, Pennsylvania. Santander Arena. How strong an American name. We all have revolving debt. So,
yes.
Pop and show at Radio City planted the seed for this fertile gosling to blossom. Bruce, why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this tour while I receive this seamless delivery at my front door?
So Greg has a package that is important enough to interrupt this podcast, which really could have been just a package of multiple moisturizers from Amazon, like I get regularly. But I know I can speak for Greg on this, that I think when we both heard about this tour quite some time ago now, it's been a little bit of time planning and in the running and not quite confirmed, and some dates have changed. The Mohegan date was kind of a last minute, if you will, sort of change on that tour as well, which was a good one. A positive for those of us in Connecticut, obviously, because of course it's only an hour and a half away from where I live, and I like that. But I mean, the whole tour being in the Northeast is nice, but this tour is just really something that I don't think we ever could have dreamed of, in a long time. And I know the guys probably couldn't have either. And it's definitely a huge thing for them. I mean, obviously, just looking at the list of places, as Greg read them off, I mean, arena, it's just insane, and that's definitely the benefit of what comes along with the kind of the graciousness of Trey and his team, reaching out and kind of wanting to do something with new bands and with Goose, obviously, in particular. I mean, people have different feelings about, hey, I'd rather just have a whole Goose show, just like Fish has been doing for years and Tab's been doing for years, where primarily it's only them. And, that's because that's the band you want. And it's the same with Goose. But I just think when you've got two incredible bands and starkly kind of different bands, I know people try to make these comparisons to Fish and Trey, and they really, I've always found them to be very weak kind of comparisons, or very generic kind of comparisons, and not very fitting. And I just think you're going to get a much different, but somehow complementary kind of show out of the two different sets. And then you get this collaborative set, which is going to absolutely crush, and I'm hoping to get to hear all of these things I would have loved to hear Goose play back in the day, to cover, Fish songs and Trey songs, and then vice versa. It's going to be awesome to hear Rick up there on Cayman Review, or, it's just going to be so cool. So I think there's a ton of cool stuff that's going to come out of that. I know I am ridiculously excited for it, and really hoping there is some way I can scrape by to go to all of those shows somehow and keep my day job. So yeah, he did. And don't act like you're not excited, Matt. Me and Matt shared moment after moment at Red Rocks. And then he comes on, just the cynicism. But anyway, so that's pretty much how I feel. I think Greg doesn't need to hear all of that. He knows. So yeah, I mean, couldn't be more excited.
So Bruce, can you just restate everything you just said while I was gone?
Too long didn't read. Tab's going to be sick. Goose Tab collaborative set's going to be sick. I'm going to be at all these shows trying to behave and trying to be on my best behavior,
100%.
And but that's it. And I just can't wait. I hope to see all y'all out there. And hey, look, it's worth it to fly out to the Northeast to come hit some of these shows, even if you're not local. Just come do it. It's going to be once in a lifetime, man. It's going to be awesome. So it's
like Fish, Mexico, Lowell, Massachusetts. I'm going to
Lowell.
Lowell.
Yeah, I mean, Lowell. It's the same place practically.
Yeah, I can't even think of a good analogy there. So how much of the promo video was driven by Trey versus Goose? I'm not actually really sure. I remember talking to a band member. I don't know their name. I don't know everyone in the band's names.
They're easy to forget. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I was talking to one of the guys, and they were saying they were like, oh, we have to film some sort of commercial or something with Trey, but they had no idea like the day before that what the whole vibe was, what the concept was, and it's probably why I didn't really see this band member in the video. But super cool concept for those of you who are candy lovers. I'm a big Reese's guy. And I'm wondering if like anyone in the band had even really seen the commercial, because it's more like geared towards people of Bruce's generation.
Yeah, no, those babies haven't seen that. No, they're not. They're out there watching indie stuff and like weird movies like Donnie Darko, and I don't know, they don't know that, but
Right.
But I honestly somehow did. And anyway, when I got to see that video first, just a little before it was released, man, what a riot it was. And it was directed by our good friend Will Thresher.
Thresher directed it. The man
from the man who brought you Shenanigans. Yeah. And I mean, they were having such a kick out of it when I heard, this is just all so, it just like makes these guys giddy when they're normally morose and mopey. No, not true. But I mean, just to see them like this, like little kids, like all of us around it too. The whole crew, John especially, this is huge for him as well. And then all of us that have been on the fish scene forever and have been supporting our friends forever. It just, every one of these little pieces and every one of these little collaborative things that Trey is down to do with the guys is just so, it's incredible. It's hard to not just giggle to yourself a little bit about, but yeah, I like to see it keep coming, man. And that's why, some of the sense of humor stuff that we have in the community, it's where we did get those ideas and did bring it in from the fish and Trey community. And, it's just great to see them.
We have a sense of humor in this community.
We try our hardest. I mean, there's a lot of bad jokes. I don't know if that counts, but
we contribute to that. So thank you for carrying us through that segment, Bruce. It seems we have more listeners than when I left, so killing the game.
That's astounding. I'm astroturfing that.
Let's talk about some other news. Goosemas canceled on the East Coast due to lack of hustle. Ooh. Relocated out west for 2 nights in colorful Colorado, the Centennial State. If anyone can explain in the comments the background to why Colorado is called the Centennial State, also colorful,
it's the 100th state, and it's brown, and it's got some green too.
Colorado's the 100th state.
Wait, what are we talking about? No, no. Never
Colorado is the 100th state of the union. You're right.
We've been,
right. 100%, dude.
Been on a run, man.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going. All right, so
everything's clicking up here.
Recently incorporated state Colorado plays host to Goosemas 9. It is going to be 2 nights, December 16th and 17th, at the First Bank Center in Broomfield. Get out your brooms, folks. It's going to sweep you off your feet.
Oh, the times where you just don't have to do that and you choose to, after I gather all of these listeners. But, there are a lot of people who are mad, man, about these shows being out in Colorado. And I do have to say, and I know John would agree with me, man, that, and we've said this a lot. Look, you had opportunities, and I know maybe it wasn't advertised like it is now, but Goose has been playing for a long time. This is Goosemas 9. And although one of the Goosemases wasn't an open, it wasn't a public event, like there have been many opportunities to come see them at small, cool places and party it up with the guys and with all of us, for many, many years, and people didn't take those opportunities. So now it's in Colorado, and there's going to be a lot of people who be there, and Colorado really does show out for the guys, which I definitely love and love to see. So it's going to be cool. Plus, I think it also gives them an opportunity to now pack, I think, an arena for Goosemas, where, with the change in schedule for Goosemas and Mohegan and all of that, it just was a little bit of a taller task. So, and I think that, we always want to see that, you always want,
right.
You don't want it to be overpacked, but you want to see a full sellout if you can. And so I think they have a good chance of getting it for those shows too. So,
well, I think I have no qualms about them packing this place in. I mean,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure First Bank Center capacity is like 6,500, right? So you got to think Red Rocks is just shy of 10,000. It was probably about 40,000 were there last Thursday, 40 to 50,000, I would think. Mohegan, 10,000 cap room. I can't see them not selling this place out 2 nights, which is going to be sweet. I love a good arena. And yeah, I mean, I'm just pumped to get back to Colorado another time this year. I really do think it is becoming Goose's home away from home. Sorry, Covington, Kentucky. My bad. But Colorado, 8 straight sellouts in the state of Colorado. Pretty incredible. And one thing I don't know actually whether or not it'll be 3 sets. I don't know. I really don't. But like I would think that it'll probably be 2 set shows because it is 2 nights.
Yeah, but I mean, I also do think regardless of what happens as far as just set count, obviously this is something that's been a tradition to do 3 sets, but I think they're just going to come with it and bring the same sort of energy and vibe and cool new songs and new covers and just the fun environment to Goosemas that they always bring. And I'm sure there'll be other special things going on around the event. So no matter what, it's still going to be special. No matter what, Goosemas is still one of the, one of my favorite things that they do. One of my favorite times of the year. So, I think you're still in for a treat no matter what they do with the sets.
Definitely. And yeah, like you're gonna be in for a treat. There's always surprises in Goosemas. Excuse me, DG. Just like fish, Ohio and Kentucky butter your bread, then you move on. You never know when they'll come back. You never know.
Goose won't forget the Midwest, man. And Legend Valley can continue to grow in size as much as they want. I don't see them really ever stopping going there, for some runs. And I really hope they don't. It's just wonderful. It's great to have a place like that they can connect with for years on end. So I don't think they'll forget about that area, fish, they're mean.
You know what the Midwest is? Young and restless. All right, nothing. Never mind.
Nice.
They go. All right. So other news. Goosemas in Colorado. Oh, boom! Huge news. Don't be too sad at home. The East Coast always gets screwed. I know. Catherine Conroy. Good question. What states has Goose not performed in? South Dakota, Hawaii. South Dakota, Hawaii. First 2 I can think about. Mississippi for sure. I don't know if they have performances in Mississippi ever.
I hope not. Really, I'm not going to any of those.
No, I will miss those. Okay, well, Iowa. Sorry, Garth. Party on, dog. Alaska, not quite yet. I'm sure there's a couple other states that, frankly, we're all forgetting. So anyway, other news. We've got some side projects playing. Arebelo. Playing at
that's right,
the Levitt Pavilion in Westport, Connecticut next month. I'm sure each and every one of you would want to know what day that show is taking place. So I'm about to tell you it is September 7th. Picturesque Levitt Pavilion. Right on the water.
People's publicist, everybody. He knows what's going on.
Right on the water, in Connecticut. We know Kathy will be there riding the bike. See you there, Kathy. Come get your taste of acoustic tunes.
Neil, you're gonna come down for that. Keep in mind those shows are early, really early at Levitt, which again is nice, but I think they pretty much have to be off by 9:30 latest. I don't know. Is that right? How late did Twiddle go that? I feel like they were one of the later shows.
Twiddle went till 9:45. Yeah, I think there's a hard stop at 10. Although I can't
most
see them,
of the time they're done before. Yeah,
but
it is a beautiful venue and it's cool. It's small. It's on this nice hillside. It's like a little park, and it just is a great vibe. I've never seen a bad show there yet, and I'm super thankful that they have that there. It's like kind of a not-for-profit establishment, so they have tons of free shows, and this one will be paid because Goose thinks they're odd shit, but I'll be paying because I'm a simp. But it's really worth it. If you could get down there, if you're local enough to get down there, definitely try to go. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, going to be fantastic. Big shout out to our friend Kieran Edwards. Feel better, my friend. Member of Residual Groove, as well as Jed, featuring Jeff Arevalo and Previn Edwards, best guitarist in the 203. Head on down to Dunville's after Arevalo, catch some tunes.
Hell yeah.
Also, Norwalk, Connecticut, September 11th. Thank you, Kathy. Vasudo acoustic set free show.
How did I not know about this? They don't want me there, do they? This is what's happening now. They don't tell me about Arevalo. They don't tell me about Vasudo. They know I'm just going to be loud and it's acoustic. Is that the problem?
Pinckney Park? Pinckney Park? Is that what it's called?
Pinckney.
Pinckney?
Pinckney, like a knee, like a joint. Is that? Oh, is
all right. Vasudo's playing in a park. Vasudo's playing in a park. On September 11th.
We tried.
Also, one more thing. News. Kara Mitchell. I guess we're just taking news from the crowd today. We're gonna get to these.
Hell yeah, dude. Why not?
Submit your Arevalo t-shirt designs by midnight. Apparently, Arevalo's taking t-shirt designs. I think if it's a voting thing, maybe we should submit a photo of me, Bruce, and Joey as Arevalo.
That's a good idea. That's that's an excellent idea, actually. Yeah. People won't be able to tell the difference, really.
Limited edition merch. I want to be Jeff. Yeah. All right. So Pinckney Park gonna be fire. And then the guys have a little bit of time to, I don't know what they do in their time off, change their strings. And then hitting it pretty hard into Fall Tour. We already know what Fall Tour is happening. Buy your tickets. I think I'm gonna go down to Richmond for the tour kickoff. What do you think? Want to roll?
I think I'm gonna try to do that too. I don't remember their tour dates. Obviously, I forgot a lot over the last week period, but I do kind of recall thinking that Richmond might be two of the only shows within those couple months before Tab Tour that I'll be able to hit. So definitely going to go try to get down to Richmond. Plus, I was always kicking myself for missing that Broadberry show, that epic Broadberry show in 2019. So
best lead the way ever.
Yeah, it really, I still love that version of one of my favorite songs a lot. So definitely want to try to get down there and, redeem myself. Which will be impossible over the course of 2 nights, but I'll give it a go. But
I think you need to do one-offs. Like you always have.
I know. I need to set the bar lower. Really,
every weekend.
That's I like that idea, but we'll see if I follow through.
Okay. Also, this weekend, last thing, Porch Fest, Black Rock, Connecticut, best music in Connecticut. Okay. Let's talk about some show recaps.
All right.
We hit the road last week. I rented a rented a hotel room.
That's people do that.
I rented a hotel room. Bruce had these full intentions on third wheeling it with me and my wife on Monday. Much to my disappointment, he did not stay with us Monday. So we had double beds in a suite, jumped on them. It was totally cool. No big deal, Bruce. We'll bill Osiris.
Nobody fills me in on these details. I am fully expecting a spot on a floor, or a chair, or I won't sleep and I just live in the room for a while. But I had a feeling based on your reaction that you might have actually gotten a bigger room for that purpose. And, this is why I love my friends, everybody. But yes, I ended up having to change plans last minute because I'm an idiot in some ways. And I did.
In other ways, not.
In other ways, not. But I did get somebody's car out of it. A very nice grandma that I used for a couple of days in Dillon, which didn't also go well for me. And we're not going to go deeper into that story. But that can lead us into the show. So
yes. All right. In the chat, tell me what your favorite night of Dillon was and why. 5-paragraph essay. So Dillon, Colorado, rented a nice little Volkswagen Tiguan and drove on up on Tuesday morning to picturesque Dillon. It was about 50 degrees, rainy, gray skies. I hit the dispensary. They dispensed. Went to Frisco the house I was staying. Big shout out to Neil Beanstalk for hosting. Happy 50th birthday, Neil. Jonathan Blitt. Thank you for being lovely hosts. And then realized, shit, I didn't really pack any winter gear for this show. And that kind of
because it was summer.
I went to the Arapaho. I went to went to the Arapaho restaurant. Got a nice little trout salad before the show. Fantastic.
Nice.
And then
refreshing.
we went into the Dillon Amphitheater and got some incredible music. I say my theory is that 3,500 cap venue, 2 nights before Red Rocks. I think the guys wanted to let their hair down and get loose for
bastards with hair.
Those yeah, we can all dream. So night one, what do we open with night one?
Oh man, night one we got Bob Don opener, which is a great opener, dude. Just a great way to set the tone on a rainy, kind of gray, cool sort of night, man. And just getting deep and heavy right away, you know. Like I said, morose, mopey, gray, rainy, it just hair, perfect combination. You know, for getting some indie rock going right off the bat. So Bob Don, dude, was a good opener, and then into Time to Flee, man. No matter what,
baby.
No matter what people think about that song, man, they like to play it. They play it pretty regularly. It's not lost its place in rotation, and it always kinds of slaps, you know. It kind of does set the right mood. Everybody in the crowd loves it, and they had that alligator. Remember the blow up alligator? That's fun.
Oh, the blow up alligator it looked heavy while being launched through the air and hitting people in the back of the head.
Yeah, had like sharp edges on the side, and it was hilarious though.
I mean, so Time to Flee went deep. I mean, that was like, all right, these guys mean business.
Yeah.
Like I think it was like 23-minute Time to Flee. Multiple peaks for those of you who need to peak. Followed up by a slow and winding Indian River.
Yeah, and John, I thought it was funny when I was preparing some more notes. He wrote in his notes that it was like a new 80s style arrangement, and he's going to kind of get that information from the guys. So that's sort of how they're sort of looking at it. And I re-listened to it because it wasn't something I necessarily noticed too distinctly at the time. And yeah, I guess it's a little more synthy. It's slow. I mean, there's parts towards the end of it that sound, you know, you can hear maybe a little of that like 80s, little late 80s rock in it maybe. But you know, I didn't really necessarily think right away, oh, that sounds like an indie style, but definitely another vibey style of Indian River. And like a lot of people in the scene talk about with them, and because their song catalog is a big topic, but how they redo songs and change them up all the time, you know, keeps it interesting for the band, keeps it interesting for the fans. And Indian River is a great song, no matter how I get to hear it. So always happy when they drop that in.
So funny that these 90s babies are trying to play this music reminiscent of the 80s, you know? Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
You know about that.
I know, but at least they're trying. I mean, the 80s slap. Yep. So unfortunately, I was only within my first 5 years in the 80s. Otherwise, I would have excelled. I was born for that shit, man. But
so I really like this Indian River arrangement. I do very much prefer this Indian River arrangement acoustic, like this kind of slow winding version.
Yeah.
I like the Moon Cabin version live, but I'm also, you know, I don't like change. I think this was a beautiful rendition of Indian River. I had a cool 80s joke related to Reagan, but I just didn't really remember what it was. So let's move on. All right. SOS.
Yeah, I mean, good to hear. I think but with that little change in arrangement style to Indian River, that Bob Don to Time to Flee to Indian River to SOS. I mean, they're keeping this is what I love about kind of the way they've developed this year, especially, is that with more of these indie tone songs and you know, even with some of their new songs that are a little bit more kind of folk rocky, like California Magic and stuff, they just managed to keep these very cool vibes going and a very cool sort of aesthetic to a whole set or to a whole show that's just unique from a lot of other sort of rock bands, psychedelic rock bands, jam bands, where that's again where that indie vibe comes in and opens like a whole different sort of musical palette to them. And we'll talk about that with some of the covers I want, and Red Rock show, especially the Moniker cover, because it's a good example of that. But yeah, so I just think again, it just is a nice even set, flowing really well. Picking up steam, and in SOS, you're going to get that excellent jam at the end and stuff, and then you're gonna get more energy out of it. It's more of an upbeat, little bit of more of an upbeat rock song. So really great placement. I thought first set SOS mad cool. Plus like they're already deep in the first set, so and I'm always they could play that a lot more. I'm always interested in hearing it. So
yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Did feel like SOS has kind of been on the shelf a little bit this year. It's been living its life on the shelf.
But on fire.
Yeah, I don't know that to be true, like statistically, and maybe it's just that the guys were on a tear, like debuting new songs at the start of the year. But I have been a fan of SOS since I heard it the first time back in the day. And then happened.
Some veteran over here.
Okay, all right. Well, I did happen to also catch, like, prior to Shenanigans, one of the two performances in recorded history. One of it, which was June 1st, 2018, 19 at Octave. And then the other one was 129-19 Lazy Dog, Boulder, Colorado. RIP. Love you, Lazy Dog. Probably a little too lazy to stay alive. But incredible. Was waiting for it to take shape in a live setting, and I really think it did. Two things I want to highlight about SOS Dawn. Just SOS. You don't even need to say Dawn. Two things I want to highlight. One, Peter, synth solo. Incredible. That's an 80s vibe. And two, Trevor bass.
I mean, I don't know. We can mention Trevor bass so many times in different contexts. It's just and I mean, I talked to him about him with people during at these shows as well, and it's just like, dude, something he just will always stand out as this pillar, but it's always standing out behind the rest of the band. And then it's always when people pause for a second or talking at set break and they're thinking back about what they just heard, and they're like, yeah, but god damn, Trevor, man, was in it. Trevor just keeps these flows, and that's how you get this foundation behind these guys that allows Rick and Peter to do what they do so easily, and to find new spaces of going, and he can just keep that ship rocking, man, the whole time, and fit in now with a lot of sound coming from percussion and drums together. That he's just still that underpinning that is so steady and stable and cool. It comes up with these cool patterns that that everybody else can sit on top of all the time. And it's just, I mean, it's why we've been saying for years, man, put Trevor up. It's why people still say it, put Trevor up. You just can't get enough of listening to him,
Yep, 100%.
And it's just, he's not mono neon. He's not one of these guys that's going out there and just, doing a million things on the bass. Also reminds me of a guy from Spafford. I always hate to forget his name. He's a really good bass player too. Just totally different styles, but Trevor's is so understated. It's just, you always come and think back and be like, God, Trevor was on it.
What were we saying at the show? Tasteful. Very, very tasteful. But I really also, I had been waiting for years for him to start slapping, and he slapped the shit out of SOS. Next up, Labyrinth. Compositional piece from Shenanigans Nightclub, released in 2021, written by Rich Mataratanda while he was in high school. Little something that maybe y'all don't know. Rick wrote that back in the day. Labyrinth, incredible compositional piece. One of my personal favorite tunes from the previous album that we haven't heard much in the last year. What you think?
I love it. Like you said, dude, I kind of like that you don't get to hear it a lot, because I've been lucky enough to hear it when the few times that they seem to play it. But I love it, man. It's very cool. I think it's one of their most proggy songs, and just with the different phases, all the phases are very cool. It doesn't seem to be boring or overextended. It's like a perfect time, and I love to hear it. And just like with the atmosphere of that show, keeping it kind of weird and darker and a little more vibey was perfect for the setting for me. And I was super happy to hear SOS, and I was super happy to hear Labyrinth.
Absolutely. Vibe Town population. Us, set closed with hot tea. Fan favorite. Do we need to talk about hot tea anymore?
No, but that one was sick. It was good.
Fire.
I'm surprised at how much they play it, dude. That some of the ones that they pulled out, like the one at Indy, this one, they could continue to make it still like such a great experience, even though you're like, hot tea set closer. Very creative indie kids, but it's like it's so good. So
yeah,
that's
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, that's
when
why
you're right. You're right. So I actually missed the start of set 2 because I was running off, hiding backstage to escape the wet blanket that was Night 1 Dylan Bruce Robinson. But word on the streets has it that they open with Flowdown. So maybe you can walk us through that a little bit.
Well, obviously I immediately called it. And besides that, I was very impressive backstage on night 1. Was that the night that I accidentally walked out on stage as well? I think it might
accidentally walked down on the stage. Yeah, actually, if anyone saw Bruce walk out on stage during set break night 1 and can accurately describe his movements, please do so in the chat. You have a chance to win a prize. It has to be very accurate description. Interesting point by interesting point by Drew Davidson here. That's a little bit of a random piece, and I'm not going to go on too far of a tangent. But the crowd in LA did not really sing the la da 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 as parts in Hot Tea, because Drew, LA doesn't really participate with jam bands. They participate with indie group bands, and indie group bands don't have sing-alongs. LA, a little too cool. But we'll save that. We'll save that for next week. I can't alienate our LA listeners if we have any. All right. After Flowdown, Drive, something Bruce did with someone's grandma's car. And meanwhile, keep those descriptions of Bruce's movements coming in the chat. I am going to grab the prize for the winner who can describe Bruce's movements most accurately. Bruce, tell us your thoughts on Drive. I'm getting this prize.
That was an excellent drive, I think. And it was a little condensed, 13 minutes, but I just thought the jam was awesome the whole time. And then just, kind of moving into Western Sun and a big Western Sun after, Flowdown's high energy, Drive's high energy. And then Western Sun kind of brings you back to earth a little bit, but gets into some more ambient jam space. And, I think it's just like, to some extent, like we used to say with his shows, where it's not as much what they play, but how they play it. I think with Goose, it's also not as much about what they play, but how they like it oh my God, in which order do they play it? And like, they were just really crushing the kind of set list that they were playing. Not only Dylan Night 1, but I think that was a big part of Red Rocks too. So just setting myself up for later in the episode. But yeah, I think the drive was excellent. I think they kept the energy going for that second set when everybody was getting a little cold, a little tired of the rain. But again, condensed, and then that's what I like too. Sometimes I thought they got into a little bit of a thing with Drive after the Buffalo Drive, where they just wanted to play huge drives all the time, and huge needs. And it's like, hey, you got a lot of other songs too that you can bust out and play huge now, and Redbird's one of them. And so it's like Western Sun, anytime that's over 15 minutes, pretty surprising. So I like when they do a little bit different stuff with that too. And it's like, even with a song like Drive, it doesn't have to be enormous every time. So I like the way they played it.
We've got a winner, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to restate this phrase that we may have heard before, called "It takes one to know one." So Bruce Hardy, you accurately described Bruce's moves as dusty. I think that is an apt description of what we all saw happen on that stage. So first winner of the night, merch giveaway from our friends at Long Strange Putt, content creating Instagram page. Bruce Hardy, you've won this Long Strange Putt hat, courtesy again of our friends at Long Strange Putt. I don't know if you golf. I know a Bruce whose golf game's pretty dusty. So thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce, for dancing So congratulations to you, Bruce. Email us at greatbeyondpodcast@gmail.com, and we will get this in the mail before 2025. All right. So
a lot of people have been congratulating Bruce's lately. I like to see that. The name Bruce is doing a lot.
Bruce's are up right now. Bruce's are up right now. Okay. Western Sun. Fire.
Yep, and
great
a big
song.
One.
Big yep. Western Sun on a cloudy day. Real funny.
Yep.
Really love it. Went deep. Again, I think I was avoiding Dusty Bruce at the time. I did end up like I took my chomping talents to like the cheesesteak area. And big shout out to our friend Gino, who during set 1 came down to our section and said, "Dude, I think I just had the best fucking cheesesteak of my life." And I was like, okay, the best cheesesteak of your life in Dillon, Colorado, from this tent. I forget what the place was called. I think it was called Sausage Patties, maybe. And I'm ashamed to say that I just put together the reference. But I got a cheesesteak during set 2. And that cheesesteak was flames. It was incredible.
Well, no one told Bruce, though, that night.
Bruce was not listening to anyone. Anyway, Moby followed that up. Trevor bass dropping bombs all over Dillon, shaking my chest. Really helped me to digest said cheesesteak. Just like
kind of settled in, from it just shifted it down.
Rumble every time you do it.
That's science.
So thank you, Trevor. And then Into the Mist. High energy Into the Mist, 17 minutes, something like that. Really, really strong. I love a good Mist. What do you like? What do you like, Bruce, if anything?
Well, I think most people know I really like Mist. And I
Sierra Mist?
I do really like Sierra Mist too. I haven't had a Sierra Mist in a while. That shit slaps.
Bruce Hardy's on fire too, Into the Dust.
Give me that citrus soda, baby, all dizzy. But yeah, and Into the Mist quite a bit like a citrus soda, except not. And it was really good. Obviously, Mist. It's raining, misting, that kind of thing. Funny, clever. But I always love that. Obviously, second set is it's where it's at, where it lives. And it was, again, it just flowed well with everything else. Pick up that energy, get people dancing again. It was actually, looking at Bandcamp, a little shorter. It was like 13 minutes, Greg, but then the Pancakes after, which I thought was maybe, I haven't gotten to re-listen to these shows yet, but I thought that Pancakes was like the highlight for me.
Oh yeah,
show.
Set
Honestly,
closer,
I thought the jam was so different, and it was it just ripped, man, and it was very cool, very proggy as well. And that's what I like about those new Peter songs: Pancakes, Butterflies, Redbird, are just so different in a way than Goose's normal songs, Rick's normal repertoire, and really lead them into these much cooler jam spaces that I think are helping them develop their sound and jams all around. So I'm a huge fan of. And I thought that ending was sick. That it was a great ending to the second set.
Absolutely. Before we hit the Doobie song, a lot of good Sierra Mist chatter going on in the chat right now. Let us know in the chat, what is your favorite second tier soda? So we've got Sierra Mist. Well, actually, Sierra Mist is kind of third tier. You've got Sprite 7-Up Sierra Mist. Actually, you kind of got Sprite 7-Up Fresca Sierra Mist.
Yeah, but I think I'd put Fresca on tier 2. So I really think Sierra Mist could be tier 2 under 7-Up and Sprite should be kind of on the same tier.
You're right.
Maybe, and
see,
Jesse's my dog
right here. Mr. Pibb, you already know Jesse missed that. I'm surprised you can't identify a tier, Jesse. Mr. Pibb is at least fourth.
Sure. I don't know if anybody remembers the old Mountain Dew commercials with Busta Rhymes. And if you do not look them up on YouTube, they are American film at its best.
They wanted to recreate those commercials for the Trey tour, but they just
Orange Crush, dude. Oh man, I had some bad memories.
Ooh, Doc Brown's
on my mouth from Orange Crush.
Come on, Doc Brown's a tier 1.
It should be. If it's not, it might not be respected in that manner, but it should be.
Nice one, Donda. We're not going to touch that one.
Mellow Yellow, hard to food. That's an esoteric reference. I like that.
Ooh, Code Red, Kara. I didn't take you for an extremist.
Yeah, that shit was rough.
I'm on that. I'm about that Baja Blast life, man.
Definitely a little piece of my liver chipped off last time I had a Code Red.
Diesel Johnny, Mellow Yellow, very on brand. Love you, dog. Yeah. All right, Surge. Okay. There we go. Pete McGrath knows the man moved out to the West Coast to be extreme. Surge, absolutely the original boneless Four Loco. All right, let's get back.
Okay. All right. So
Scooby song closer. Love it. Okay.
All right. Night Tizu.
Night 2. So what'd you do? Okay, actually, never mind. After
what'd I do with Grandma's car?
You gotta subscribe to get that story. So I went for some cocktails and charcuterie with my gracious hosts after night 1. Woke up early, answered emails, hit the Dillon Reservoir for a nice pontoon session. Pontooned around left and right. Went to Whole Foods. Cooked dinner. Went to the show. Very excellent day. Like, what else do you really need? Does anyone else want to know any unnecessary details about what I did? Does anyone want my social security number?
Nope.
Beautiful day. Beautiful day in Dillon, Colorado for a night 2 of Goose. Nice and sunny.
Yes, Kieran, you're right. Joey Parisi would have had a nice time. And
Joey Parisi would have had a great time there.
We should shout out our third co-host and arguably most important host who couldn't make it tonight either because he is also doing extraordinarily nice things for his family. But we missed Joey, missed him out in Colorado, and he better not miss his upcoming stuff, man. Come on, get on the horse.
Come on, Joey. We're floundering here. It's 7:51 and we haven't even talked about Red Rocks yet. We need you back, man. Night 2. Dillon, Colorado.
Soda, though.
Okay, let's start this out strong. I like DG. You're really throwing out some hot divisive takes here, and I'm loving it.
Dude, I'm not. Okay, either.
Wooing.
Let's just put it out.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
All right,
let's talk about it. If you want to call into the show, dial 911 extension 6.
So first of all, what shit were they wooing during? During this show, it was night 2, correct? I just forget what it was.
I blocked it out. I was seeing.
We really should not be wooing. I mean, it depends. Am I going to hate on people for wooing at these shows? No. If they're opening that space for it, one thing I like about Goose is they typically don't do it much, and then they'll start filling in that space again. So is it a big deal? Not really. If people want to woo, okay. If everybody's doing it, it's cool. But it's like,
right.
You don't.
You can't spell. Right. You can't spell wooks without woo. So I think it's cool to get lost in the passion and woo here and there. Like an unsolicited, I don't know, like a type 2 woo that just emerges out of a jam. Sometimes you need that release,
I agree. Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place.
Right. But I don't like a pre-prompted woo, although in the early 2000s, I wooed during many of a Dave Matthews Warehouse.
Man, shouldn't be telling people that.
Bob Marley shirt, puka shell necklace, cornrows, the weird time. So anyway, nice. California Magic opener, very strong opener, really great jam. California Magic, really awesome start. The jam was sweet, cogent. The guys seemed very settled in. I was saying all week, I think they respond well to nature. So to wake up in the bus, got the Dillon Reservoir. What is that? A vanilla wafer?
Yeah, it's a vanilla wafer. I mean, I just need some sugar, to get through this pond. It's dry like I thought it was like the humor. I didn't plan that one. That one fell into my lap.
Limited edition Jewel. So California Magic, super strong. I literally only have so much hard drive space in here and kind of wiped it for switching. Shout out to Sam Ackles, Got Is Switching.
Yeah, see, man, Got Is Switching.
I love Switching. I love it.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. So when Sam posted that on Goose, the fan board for any of you who don't know, and God bless you if you do not, on Facebook. But yeah, Sam was posting about it. I was like, oh, night one for Dylan does seem like boom, come out the gates. I hit it with Switching, did a night two, second song. But you know, it's cool that they kind of do keep, and it's not necessarily maybe because they saw it on the board. I'm sure they actually might have, but they do see a lot more than people think, without actually being on the board actively. But you know, it's kind of nice that they do kind of make nods to that stuff, you know, and they care about keeping this community tight and not, you know, they're not going to appease everybody. They can't do everything, but it's nice when they can slip those things in. So I know a little of that probably came into mind. Maybe even John saw it and threw it on the set list. But cool to do that song too. And we haven't heard it in a while, man. Can't beat Switching, dude.
Where's Ryan Storm?
Yeah, Garth.
We need Ryan Storm to let us know how long it's been since we heard of Switching. But switching gears, switching gears here. Song 3, Born. Boom.
What a big time. This has turned into, from when it got released as the first single, to being such a hot topic with so many pretty bad takes on it, but really a lot of people.
Remember those days? If this is the direction the band's going, I'm fucking out of here, man.
Well, I'm gonna go back to. I mean, that sounds like me at Bethel Night too, and I was like, I'm done with Nitty Groove, but it's
right. That's every show.
These things happen, but yeah, Born, dude, and I just was like, this is one song that even I was like thinking, you don't you hear the space in the song? They're gonna take this somewhere live. But how well they've done with it live since then, and how many cool versions and big monster versions they've had, dude. And we were chilling
guys to express themselves artistically.
Oh, it's so great. It's just such a cool vibe live, you know. And then the cool 2001 jam. I know we always fuck around calling it that, but they've done different things with it now. They did something different with it at Radio City. They kind of get into it, and then they move away from that beat and that kind of chord progression and move into some other spaces. But man, I have not been there live for a Born that I did not love. I love it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Footini and
that was Footini. Oh man,
Footini.
Oh, what a clown, dude. Yeah. But that, I mean, I love seeing that shit though, and I've always loved seeing bands have fun on stage. I don't care if you're playing that well, man. Just have fun. That's what That's what you do it for. You know?
Just don't woo if they're having fun.
No, wait. Nobody else gonna have fun.
Yeah. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Footini. All right, so Born was fire. Then we got the Bruce Robinson anthem, Dr. Darkness. The darkness is spreading. What you think, Bruce?
I think I did spread the shit out of darkness on Tuesday.
That's for sure. For sure.
You brought the clouds with you
in your suitcase.
You know, I parked Grandma's car, by the way. I just have to say this. This car was parked all day. I was not joyriding in the car. But it did help that it was a very nice day. And I just was in the most beautiful town and with great friends and seeing great music, you know, and I felt a lot better. And Dr. Darkness, you know, reminded me that I have an image to uphold. It was a dark individual. Right. But it was still, you know, I couldn't do it. I was having too much fun.
That's what we say internally.
On night two. Yeah.
So Dr. Darkness, for show. And then Mississippi Half Step Uptown to the Woo.
Ooh,
hell of a jam.
Woo. Don't entice him. Oh yeah, great jam, dude. Another great cover, man. I'm so glad is in this like very semi-regular rotation for them. It's just so much of a part of them and a part of their aesthetic and everything that they've brought to the table since Peach, and like it, and they've been playing it for years though. And it's like, I just love it. Love their version of it. So yeah, I was already on it night two, man. It was a great start, great first set, great way to end the first set too. And a great way to start the second set, dude. I love Honeybee. Now we're going from massive Born, awesome Mississippi Half Step to Honeybee. But man, I love it as a set opener. And I really love that song. It's like one of my favorite Peter songs, if I could put it that way. Where I think a lot of people might leave it out, you know, but what a catchy tune. And the riffs are great, you know, all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, great song. And frankly, save the bees, y'all. We need them. Wisteria, great beyond anthem, banger, absolute banger. Wisteria jam. You know what, Kelly? You're damn right, Kelly. The GOAT, Wisteria, all day. They took that shit to the great beyond. Again, Joey Parisi, we missed you. We do now. Like, what can we say? What more can we say about this Wisteria other than like GOAT?
I just love the fact that they can continue to push the envelope on some of the best Wisterias.
Oh yeah,
some of the best. Oh, that the vanilla
wafer is
it's just hitting you in the cough how dry it is. But when they're still bringing it to the table, all of these shows in different locations, they got a big show the next night, all this stuff, and then dropping just this massive, awesome Wisteria the night before. It's just like, man, they just can bring it. They just bring it to the table. They don't let these outside things affect them. They're just in the zone, and they can still drop the heat, And Kelly, it was excellent. I got to meet Kelly and her friend Lissa out in Colorado. We had a really good conversation. I had a beach ball, so we know how that goes. And it was nice to see them. Thank you for joining us tonight, Kelly, on the pod. But yeah, she's right, man. That was an incredible story. Without re-listening, can't say go, but was one of the highlights of the week musically, for sure.
All right, we've got the San Francisco stands taking over the chat. All right, okay, all right, Bloodbath.
Oh, dude, it's better than SF. Come on,
Pete. Yeah, come on, dog.
I don't know. That's why I say I can't say go without re-listening. At least SF was obviously a monster. But yeah, we gotta. I don't know. It was a hell of a Wisteria worth a listen.
Yeah. Absolutely. They really took it down the pathway to the great beyond. And that's how you find yourselves here. Next up, cover. Not just Gwen Stefani. Talk. It's my life.
Different songs. But it was good. It was really cool. Definitely confused people. But and I told Rick backstage in probably not the most complimentary way that it's about time he covers more pop music like a man. But women can also cover pop music. I love it. And that's true. I just cover it like them all the time to cover actually female pop artists. And they're coming around. They're gonna start doing it. But yeah, the Talk cover was cool. It just kind of goes along with some of those old 80s covers that they pull out, Take On Me, and that stuff, it just fits their vibe, and it was kind of a surprise, but it works perfectly, and it's funny how they hit those chords, So I was that was definitely a good call after that. After that awesome Wisteria, drop into a little 80s ditty, and then back into another big hit with Rosewood Heart.
With Rosewood,
not a huge one, 11 minutes, But.
Yeah, like this is the thing about I feel like that Wisteria kind of messed up time. Like, not really messed up, but it was like, oh shit, we just jammed this Wisteria very hard. Now we've got to really truncate the exploration on Rosewood and Rockdale.
Yeah, Rockdale still hit 14 minutes, and it's such a big song anyway. Same with Rosewood Heart. They're just these. Even a standard version is probably at least 9 minutes, or
right.
Tightest version that would play. So there's still a lot of meat to it anyway, and they can change up things within the song during some of the more composed but improvisational parts within the song. So I kind of like that. It's, again, like I was saying before, Drive, like, don't have to play a huge, massive version every time, because there have even been times for me where I'm at these shows and I hear them play Rosewood, and I'm like, okay, here we go. We know it's going to be a 20-minute big jam, blah, blah, blah. Not that that's bad, but it's just a matter of, this is a nice way to also add variety and change the kind of way this show is flowing. And I actually liked it in this placement, and I like that they kind of moved through it and not rushed it, but quickly moved through it and moved into Rockdale, which just, you got a 1-2 punch of such emotional songs there in different ways, and such very different songs too. And it just worked together really well. And I love Rockdale. I think there's almost nothing better than when they drop out of the music at the end and do that whole acapella part. It's just like, I just love it. It's one of my favorite things in their repertoire right now. So I can never get enough of that. So moving quickly through Rosewood into Rockdale, one of my favorite new songs that they got, Newer. Yep. I just thought there was a good vibe. Then they went slow again, did Your Ocean, sang to us a little bit.
Your Slotion.
Yeah. And then
I
threw down a Madhavan. Wisteria was huge. Obviously, maybe not to go Madhavan, but I was also very, very impressed with the Madhavan too. So it was like two real upbeat rippers, and I thought it was also a great way to have that ebb and flow from Rosewood, Rockdale, at the end of the set into Your Ocean and into Madhavan. And it was just, I just love the way they played. That whole second set, I think the second night in Dylan was awesome. You asked before what was their favorite night? Night 2 was my favorite by far. I talked to a lot of people who like night 1 though.
Right.
But yeah, everything they did night 2, plus my song, Dr. Darkness, So
Madhavan night 2, fire. Turnt Clouds encore. Why not? Look around this small village. You must be out of your mind. We're going to Red Rocks. So, all right, let's do a giveaway. Let's do a giveaway here. We're giving away.
All right,
today.
After 1 hour, they all deserve it.
All right, yeah, that's right. Thanks for sitting through that with us. We've got 3 shows to go. All right, so giveaway trivia question in the chat. All right, so trivia question. You're answering in the chat if you're watching at home. First one to get this wins 2 tickets to Goosemas. Night 1, not on sale yet. 12/16, Broomfield, Colorado. In the chat.
It's not in Connecticut.
It's not in Connecticut this year, actually.
Nope.
Did we talk about that? All right, in the chat. Name 2 songs left off of the set list at Red Rocks. Like left off of the set list that they were going to play that night. It was originally on the set list. 2 songs that were originally on the set list that were going to be played in the chat. Win Goosemas tickets.
All right, while you all think, Bruce is going to do some Clark Kent shit.
Let me get those answers. All right, we're getting some answers rolling in. 2 songs, folks. 2 songs. So, Kevin, incorrect. That's 1 song. Nicole, Malaya, Drip, and Field. Neither one's a song. Sorry. Disqualified. All right. I mean, we've got, so Bruce is, I don't know where Bruce went. So I'm going to be your game show host for
Bruce.
This.
Be back.
Aha, there he is. There you go. Yeah. Bruce, your sock account is like really crushing. Bruce dude, Hardy just won 2 tickets to Goosemas, 12/16, Dripfield, and Creatures. I don't need to write down the songs. I need to write down Bruce Hardy's name. Bruce Hardy, you're going to Broomfield. No flights included. No hotels. Worst seats in the house. Just kidding. You'll be great. Gonna be great. We'll see you there. You and Bruce can do whatever Bruce's do. So
it's magic. Yeah, Kevin Cowley, they're my second NBA team. The Knicks are my first, but obviously I couldn't tell anyone I was a Knicks fan for many years. It still makes me sick. So that's why I have a second team. Thank you, Robert.
The reason why
Bruce Hardy
is wrong Bruce. Yep. So the reason why I wanted to use that excellent question is because Red Rocks, I could have watched them play all night. I really felt like, I felt like the juices were flowing once Animal and Arcadia hit. And second
my
set,
juices were literally flowing. FYI for your information, by the way. Sorry, Grape. Sorry.
No, it's all good. That's fine. I'm just glad everyone knows. So I just, the only thing I could have wished was that the show was longer. So this is a little something I want to talk about. I thought the show was incredible. I thought front to back, they played a great show. I thought that Dylan shows were awesome. But I had a conversation with our homie at Osiris earlier, Brian Brinkmeezy. And what I'm so excited about with Goose this year is that so much of what they're doing is a series of firsts. Going on tour with Trey, playing Radio City, playing an arena. But what I also realized is that I think for these big first time experiences that the band's having, they're a little bit risk averse. So like they're not going to go incredibly deep and get lost in some jams. And they're also going to kind of stick, I think, to the framework of the time that they have allotted. So I say that to say that front to back show is incredible. I would have loved to see a Dripfield and Creatures, probably over Blood Buzz Ohio and Milestone 2 and even Fish in the Sea. But like then again, hindsight's 2020.
I was surprised to see, which certainly wasn't a lot. I think some people talk about some things online and it's literally 30 or 40 or 50 people and they think, oh, everybody thinks this way. But, I was surprised still, nonetheless, to see the kind of sentiment that I saw online today a little bit about this. Now that people seem to know that Dripfield and Creatures were written on the set list, but they don't use that necessarily to be like, this is our exact playbook. It's still about what do they feel like playing. They might swap a spot, move something up into the first set. They just move things around. It's still like, these are what are available for us tonight and maybe around when we'd like to play them, but they're still making those decisions somewhat on the fly based on how they feel. And to me, I just was very much into hearing some cool new covers at Red Rocks that I thought fit the second set very well. I think maybe some people would disagree with me on that. I didn't think it at the time. I thought it was an awesome vibe. Again, I think like I was talking about before with Dylan, it's really about how they put together these set lists and in which order they're playing these songs and then how they're playing the songs. And I think as they did that, it was very cool. I thought this, that Skuck's Life song, what is it? Its actual name is
Milestone 2.
Milestone 2, Skuck's Life, right? And it's from this movie, Hunt for the Wilder People soundtrack that I have never seen or heard of, and I watched the video today on YouTube for the song, and it's cool. Like these creepy kind of indie synthy songs that these guys love, and we've talked about covers and when I've talked about covers with the guys, try to get them to listen to stuff. That's like the stuff I have on a playlist to try to put in front of them at a time. Cause I know this is kind of their style and what they like to listen to and what they like to play, because it's again, that different musical tone that's not used by a lot of bands on this sort of scene.
Right.
And it's not your typical noodling. It's not your typical corny jam songs. It's not this and that. They're vibey and emotional and, maybe a little emo, obviously indie, all this stuff. And it just gives them a much different basis for which to do improvisational stuff out of, which I really love. And of course, I kind of vibe with some of the same things that they vibe with too. And I would admit that not everybody will. But I was surprised. I really thought too, like you said, Greg, I mean, this was one of, and I don't get into hyperbole like this with shows are overly emotional or sentimental, but I was one of the best nights of my life. Surrounded by so many friends, surrounded by so many fans. And I just thought,
besides my wedding,
besides your wedding, which again, just like stealing grandma's car, I also, arguably was a negative on Greg's wedding, but these are excellent nights.
Stole the show. You stole the show.
And so I just think, I've been telling people since then that, and before that too, when they have these big opportunities, these guys who I make fun of for being babies, because they are, no, I'm kidding, but they step up to the plate. They have these huge pressure-filled moments. This was the most people by far they've ever had. And when I look back at the Red Rocks crowd, and it was packed. I mean, absolutely packed. No fake sellout like people talk about. None of that bullshit. That thing was packed.
All these crisis
for their
actors
first time
are pretty expensive.
Rocks, yeah, I know they do. No, they're getting up there now, inflation and all.
Yeah,
but like, I mean, it's just like, dude, to come out and play not only a good show, but what I thought was really a excellent Goose show. And all the 150 whatever plus 160 shows I've seen, that was an excellent one. I don't know where I'd put it.
Oh, yeah.
But they came to play, in the biggest, arguably the most important show of their life, beyond that Red Rocks weekend. So it's like, And it played great shows before that. Played potentially Go Wisteria the night before, and Excellent Audubon, and just Rip Dillon, much different venue. And then come out, and we'll talk about this quickly too. After Vegas, they came in crushed. No show hangover after such an impressive night at Red Rock. So I was really impressed. And maybe I was just so impressed with all that stuff. And, our friend Austin Gamby, Gong Gang leader, shout out to my boy, knew this track and was familiar with it. And so getting to vibe with somebody too, when they pull out a cover like that, who knows it, and I didn't know it, that kind of adds to it for me. And it always has at different shows, and so like that was kind of lucky as well. But I just thought it was so cool. It was so different.
Yeah. For sure. And maybe maybe I actually am eating crow here and saying like, oh, they don't take these risks improvisationally at their biggest shows. Meanwhile, they play two obscure covers.
Blood Buzz Ohio and Stuck's Life. And my friend Angela's yelling at me about Ohio this, Ohio that. I'm like, nobody sings about Ohio.
Right.
But
okay. All right. I guess I'm wrong. First
different
time ever.
For different folks. Though,
There's a first time for everything.
I just think what would people have thought if they never knew that Dripfield and Creatures were on the set list to begin with, though?
Right. Exactly.
Probably wouldn't have been as big of a conversation either. So
of course. Yeah. What if Dripfield?
You get those deep thoughts here.
Yeah. You're right. Okay, but so like, I don't even, because I think that this is such a focal point, I don't necessarily want to go song by song.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But like, Hunger Site, epic. I think also, Brian and I talked about this earlier too, but like there's that special added layer of that being the first song played with Trey. The buzz around the announcement, epic roar of the crowd. Great to hear an OG tumble. Love it. Love it. That
was the same thing that struck me too. I was like, yes, OG tumble early in the show. I mean, I know we're not going to talk about each one of these, but Hunger Site, real cool. That upbeat, vibey thing. Silver Rising, early, sun still setting. That was money. That was a money touch. And then the OG tumble, I was just like, yes, And Rick was on point from the beginning.
Rick was on point for sure.
Noticed it immediately, Rick, how clean, how aggressive, and Rick was just in the zone, locked in that whole show.
100%. But I will say, I was not 100% sold on Animal. But I'm 100% sold on Animal. Animal was popping. Arcadia, concise. All right, we're not doing the whole thing, but yes, Arrow, epic Arrow too.
One thing I will mention, the Arcadia, did everybody else notice this on the chat? I didn't even notice right away. Somebody mentioned it to me, but the venue thought they were at Set Break and put the Set Break shit all on the big screens, and the lights kind of came on, and they were like, no, we're just going to play Arcadia. It's not Arcadia, but it was good, and I just liked that move. And then they just had to darken everything and take it back off the screens again. It was pretty funny.
And the other thing, too.
Go figure, dude.
Last thing, Dr. Darkness Jam, Dylan got into that, like, diminished minor jam for the music heads. And Rick was teasing Tumble, so it was just cool. Thank you, Adam, for guiding us to the end. Elnick, perfect ending. All right.
It really was. Yeah.
We're going to do another giveaway after we talk about Vegas. So stick around if you want to win them ticks. But one thing I want to just mention to all of you, if you follow The Great Beyond on socials, at Great Beyond Podcast on Instagram, Great Beyond Pod on Twitter, The Great Beyond on Facebook, please follow, like, share, subscribe. Bruce Robinson has been posting all of his deep thoughts this summer on our socials at every show that he goes to. So it's become an unofficial Bruce tour diary. So we checked out the official channels, and Bruce ate too many mushrooms and ended up in Vegas. Tell us, Bruce, while I hit wardrobe.
Well, first of all, Bruce and social media aren't a natural pairing. And I will apologize in advance for Greg leaving you all alone with me yet again. But yeah, so we've been told, to post, and obviously I'm an influencer now, so I have to post. And that's about as much as I can muster. But yeah, so I made the last second decision to go to Vegas after 3 nights of not sleeping in Colorado. And I did blame it on mushrooms, but there's 100 different other factors to blame. And when, obviously Goose is really to blame for all of my problems. And I've been saying that to them for a long time. And they disagree, unfortunately. So, you could all vouch for me with them. They're very stubborn. But yeah, so I went with a bunch of friends, as well as some of the girlfriends, and we went and kicked it in Vegas. And let me tell you, Vegas was awesome. I mean, obviously, I don't know about all of you. I have mixed feelings about Vegas. I'm not a big casino guy. But if you haven't been to something like Fish in AC or Fish at the MGM in Vegas for Halloween, or now Goose apparently playing Mohegan, it's such a vibe. It's such a funny experience to be at these large casino resorts with a ton of people who aren't there for your show and a ton of people who are. And it's just like you're just at a festival with other random people who are kind of at their own weird, festival, which involves gambling and getting hammered. And it's just so much fun. I mean, everybody's just, having a good time and getting loose, and it's fun to kick it with people. It's easy to meet people. So it's just such a fun experience when it comes to live music to see some of these bands you love at some of these casinos. Otherwise, it's a little seedy. We did go to the Flamingo Beach Club pool, and the water was pretty ratchet. Very warm, very long hairs floating around, my microparticle debris with and was so but again, it was a blast. And Brooklyn Bowl Vegas is cool, as all of the Brooklyn Bowls are. Such a neat venue, and it's just such a cool experience to get to see them. Then from Dillon, this beautiful outdoor amphitheater, nobody can take a bad picture at, even when it's raining. And it's 3,600 people. Then you go to Red Rocks, the most impressive, one of the most famous places, venues in the world, to see a show at 10,000 people packed in there. And then you go to Vegas, this little Brooklyn Bowl, to see the guys. And it was like kind of like the old school sort of Goose vibes, a real party, upbeat rocker of a show. And my most impressive thing is those guys coming out and slaying at Red Rocks and then coming to Vegas with no show hangover and absolutely tearing that show apart and playing another awesome show was, it's just incredible to see. And it's what makes these guys successful, is that they've just been able to find the will and the way to continue to do that stuff and continue to give people every cent of their money's worth when they come to these shows, and that's what I got out of Vegas, and it was well worth the trip. Absolutely.
So, to that point, I've not been to the Brooklyn Bowl in Vegas, and what, they have bowling there?
Mm-hmm.
Hipsters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Love
everything
it.
You want,
Love that. All you need, baby. So again, like, we're not going to do the whole every single show or every single song of the show, because I know you guys just want to win stuff and probably put your kids to bed or whatever y'all do. But a couple things I want to highlight. One, there's another podcast out there that kind of talks about the similar band that seems to be calling the 3 jive tunes the jive triptych or something like that. The jive,
not the jivefecta.
I thought it was the jive suite. I've been trying to make the jive suite happen for years.
Yeah, I mean, jive suite has been what we used to call it. I think it kind of crept into lingo though through John. That jivefecta was kind of what, that was something that he's also even called it. I believe, but it may have come from elsewhere. But yeah, I mean, I'm down with whatever. I think we will like to combine words. So jivefecta is good.
Portmanteau.
Jive suite is really what it is. But
right,
but, whatever. Whatever they want to call it.
So they did it. So they played 3 jives.
3 jives. Not 3 jives. However you want.
I love the jive shows. And I want to shout out TABGoose. Gave me a jivefecta pin.
Oh, nice.
I just don't know if I can get behind it. I love the jive suite as a term.
Yeah, I mean, You don't wear pins though, Greg, you know?
That's true.
So it's not like you
But
got
you
to
see that
promote
pin
it.
board? Oh, there it is. See that pin board back there?
All right, you got your wood board. Nice.
Starting to have
Mine's
some
in the other
holes in it
room.
because I get sometimes we don't have prizes. So great show.
But some highlights. Yeah, we should talk about some highlights of
Great
this
show.
show.
So
yeah.
Turbulence opener. When's the last time you heard of Turbulence?
Legend Valley. I don't know. Was that the last time? Maybe, but that was the last time. You know, and then that was when I didn't realize that they were using this new arrangement for it. It's slightly adjusted based on how it used to be, but I wasn't one of my favorite pseudo songs back in the day, and yeah, I didn't know what it was about it. There's something about it just didn't fit. All the segments didn't fit well. I don't know, but now I mean, it just sounds like a proper Goose song. You know, with some slight adjustments and great way to open, unexpected opener. And I really love it now, man. It sounded great. They really got the crowd into it quickly. And then Doc Brown, which I haven't heard in forever, honestly.
Yeah,
That's
been a minute
shelved
since
for a
Doc
while.
Brown. All of a sudden we start
Yeah.
talking soda and Dr. Brown reappears.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And then Atlas Dog's back to the original first version they played of it, which is funny. And then Marie's the Name, which is like, you know, you're obviously going to play some sort of Elvis cover, Elvis related cover. And that's also a great tune. But you can just see, guess the construction, Turbulence, Doc Brown. Atlas Dog's obviously a new song. Marie's the Name, and Elvis song. They've been covering Elvis for a while. It just like starting to flow like an old school style Goose song, Goose show. And then you know, fun songs, cool covers, and then Earthlinger Alien, dude. I know people talk a lot of shit about this song, and now they have had 3 or 4 Earthlinger Aliens that just crush, and this was one of them. Easily.
I didn't know how it could be that good without me.
Oh, dude. Well, you know, and I question that too. As a nerd Greg out there, but oh, dude, it was ripping. It was darker. It was a little gnarlier kind of rock jam, and it went through a couple different segments that were all incredible. I was like, they should just finish the set with this and just keep jamming it out because everything they're doing with it is perfect money. Best version ever, Robert. Dude, I kind of agree. It's at least just on first listen. I was like, that's the best Earthling I've ever heard, for sure. I think they played one recently that I have not listened to. I don't know if it's at the Chrysalis, maybe, but that people were loving and thought was fire. This one, it'd be hard to beat, in my opinion. It was really good and quite a surprise. And then Jive One, Jive Lee, and a lot of people didn't know. Somebody mentioned it to me at the show at Set Break, but Jive One, Jive Lee is a combination that they've done for years. They did a ton back in the day. Once Jive One came about, or once Jive Lee came about after Jive One, they would always put the two together kind of like that because Jive Lee is really Jive reprised, you know, so it just makes sense. And now, what a great way to end that set, man. Such high energy. So the energy in Brooklyn Bowl was insane. And I didn't stop dancing since Earthling. So it was like,
you didn't stop dancing since Dylan.
No, I didn't, because Dr. Darkness left for a few days. And the light, I was pulsating with love and light for a few days.
So you had to go to more shows.
Yeah.
All right. So took Sweet Island Muffins to Vegas, played some butter rum. Oh, but before that, how was Elvis? Guy's still doing it.
Oh, dude. So, okay, quick funny story too, while we still got people on. My friend Justin, old friend of ours, friend of the band, was in Vegas also, and shows me at Set Break this little video from backstage where this Elvis impersonator is yucking it up with all the guys. And I was like, oh, that's super funny, whatever. And 2 minutes later, after he shows me this video, the guys are walking out on the stage with this Elvis impersonator. And I'm like, no fucking way, you know? And they play this Don't Be Cruel song. I wouldn't have known by name, but I've definitely just heard it before over the years. You know, probably a big Elvis song. These guys know Elvis. Rick definitely does. And I'm sure there were simpler songs to pick up. So they just picked it up at Set Break. They decided to do it, come out and do it. And they crushed it. And the Elvis impersonator crushed it. And he was hysterical too. So it was like, just the perfect timing, man. And the guy was money. So I'm really so glad they did that. What a great way to open up that set. And then into Butter Rum. Everybody was just so loose at that point. You know, they could have played anything. But Butter Rum kept the energy up, kept everybody dancing. You know, again, I was thinking in my head appropriation, but We got through it. And then All I Need. They just kept the hits coming. So yeah, it was really something else. Into Flow Down, which again, I can't ever go wrong with the energy that you get out of a Flow Down. Dark Horse, which I guess I heard in soundcheck was a little iffy, but hey, that's why you soundcheck it, because they came out and crushed that. They were just on fire this whole week. Yeah, they were just on fire. There's not much you can say when they're just in the zone and playing well and feeling good. And even though they're tired and strung out, and whatever else is going on, they just, I don't know, they can just lock in. And like I was saying, these old school shows, this old school style show, Butter Rum, All I Need, the Turbulence, Doc Brown, Funny Covers, Jive One, Jive Lee. Then you get Dark Horse, and then Mas Que Nada, dude. And Mas Que Nada has always been one of my
Sergio.
God, it's always been one of my favorites, dude. And I was so excited to hear it at that point. It's been a long time since I've heard that. Maybe since Halloween. Was it Halloween in Worcester the last time they did it, I think? But so you don't get to hear that much anymore. And that is a classic Goose cover, if we can say it about any songs. 726, which I wore the same 726 shirt for days because and Mushrooms and White Lights, which I hadn't heard in a while, which I did also want to hear. And then Jive 2 to End. And that Jive 2 to End, I know we went quick, but that Jive 2 to End was also, you and Greg's a huge Jive 2 fan too. That Jive 2 ripped. It was such a great encore, dude. Such a great cherry on top of an excellent old school style Goose show at a small kind of club-like environment like this Brooklyn Bowl Vegas. And it was a cherry on top for my trip too. It was just such a good trip front to back, and the guys just played such good shows every night, and different shows too. And I don't know, it's just hard to state how cool and fun that this continues to be to watch and to see them play in these different locations and to meet all of these different fans and to watch everybody have just as much of a blast as we've had for years. It just continues, never gets old. So it was really a great week overall.
Man, if you guys could have heard Bruce 7 days ago at this time when he was quitting the music industry, you would not think that this is the same Bruce Robinson talking to you today. So with that, thank y'all for sticking with us tonight. I mean, we'd still have one more show to talk about, but let's make someone's day.
Yeah,
let's make someone's
I didn't even listen to LA, so
and let's give away some tickets here to TABGoose at Mohegan Sun Arena. The date, November 12th, Uncasville, Connecticut. So we're going to do a trivia question again.
Let's go.
Okay.
Tab Tour giveaway, baby. This is big time. Here we go.
First of many coming. First of many giveaways. If you'd like to win stuff from us, pay attention to socials because we're back. All right. So this is a tough one. Multi-part question. Actually, not really multi-part. Just listen. Okay. I'm wearing a shirt. This shirt is from a bar. This bar is in the state of Connecticut. Vasudo played at this bar. I want to know the last song that Vasudo played during their one show that was performed at this bar.
Oh, that is a hard one. And Garth, dude, it was my pleasure. I was happy to see you at Red Rocks, and I was really happy that your friend offered to let me sign your birthday card. I hope you had a good birthday, man. It's tough to beat.
This bar is in Connecticut. In fact, someone on Facebook chat said the name of the bar. We've got a winner already. Somehow the person that posted the name of the bar didn't get it right. We've got a winner, Mr. Kieran Edwards. The night they drove down. Who's Dixie. The night they drove old Dixie down.
Yeah,
the band cover. And this is from March 24th, 2012. Vasudo played at Ted's Bar and Restaurant in Storrs, Connecticut, USA. Home of the Huskies. Bruce and I are both alum. Little fun fact about this story.
Oh.
About this show. I was a DJ, had residency at the bar across the street, but worked at Ted's. Had a substantially smaller crowd one evening because Vasudo was playing at Ted's across the street. A bunch of my friends from Wilton used to come see me DJ every week. They all went to see Vasudo. I ended up shutting down early, closing my set out, going across the street to catch the end of the Vasudo show, which consisted of a Mustang Sally, 2001, Birds of a Feather cover, Empress, Dixie, March 24th, 2012. Go Huskies. God, dude. That was the start of all of this, really, and that's why I'm here now. So congratulations, Kieran Edwards. You're going to Goosemas. All right. Do we want to talk about LA? Shout out to Lucius.
We should just do it. Shout out to Jason Hahn from String Cheese Instant, good friend of Ben's, good friend of the band. Sat in for Hot Tea or something out there.
Hot Tea Encore.
So shout out to him. He's the fucking man. I even got to meet him in Florida when Ben was doing this little state tour at the end of
Jessica Jones, right?
with Jessica Jones and a bunch of other great local musicians from the Florida area. Shout out to that scene in Orlando and St. Petersburg. Those guys are the best. And then shout out to Lucius, who sat in with them for 2 songs, I believe. Slow Ready and something else, I think you guys know.
In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel.
In Your Eyes, yeah. So those 2 must have been awesome. It would have been very cool to hear these very talented female vocalists joining those guys on those songs. So I am very excited to go back and listen to some of that. And then shout out to Lawrence, like you said.
Big ups to Lawrence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And they'll probably get together more over the years. I think those guys really like them. So they always try to build up relationships with these artists too that they know and like as well. So that's cool. It's always cool to see this kind of different industry support, between the bands and between these musicians. And we've always appreciated anybody in the community helping with content and helping build the community and helping support the band. And of course, you guys for supporting us is extraordinarily appreciated. And but same with the music industry, man. It's just nice to see it go back and forth between artists and, everybody kind of just support each other and get to make these cool experiences for fans too. So,
hey, Amy, thanks for watching. Your photo passes at the box office. So go ahead and pick that up. You're shooting the show tonight.
Oh, shit.
I was totally going to text you before I got on. Sorry about that. Go get set up.
The People's Publicist.
So, folks, like I said, we're back. We are, Amy, it is. So we're back. We're going to do a season 2 thing, I think. We got a lot going on this fall. Maybe have some cameras. It's going to be dope. A lot more giveaways coming. We've only done 1 Goosemas giveaway. There will be more.
Ooh.
Maybe if you didn't win today, you'll win next time. Maybe the people today won too soon. We don't know. We just don't know. But there's a lot coming down the line. Just the rest of this week. The guys are going to play Tahoe in a couple hours. Then they head to another show, which I think is maybe in Portland, Oregon. Portland? What do we got, Bruce?
Place?
Portland, Oregon for the Pioneer Square, the Square. Then Port Townsend, Washington on the 26th for the Thing Festival. Festival. And then closing out the week. Closing out the week at Sacred Rose, Saturday. So a lot more Goose to check out this week. I think tonight's the last night that they're streaming. So stream it up. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll stream Portland. I don't know anything. But they're streaming tonight. Watch the show. We'll be back next week to recap. Then we're off for a couple weeks with the lives until Resonance. Hope to see you all down in Charleston. They just waived camping fees. So if you were on the fence about going to Charleston, get your tickets. Maybe we'll do a giveaway.
Hell yeah. Go to Resonance. It's going to be sick.
Go to Resonance.
That are going to Sticker Rose. Have a blast. That's going to be sick as hell as well. Can't wait to hear more about that. Unfortunately, we're not going to be out there, but Greg will also be at LawnCon, so we're going to have a lot to talk about in September.
A lot to talk about, yeah.
So definitely, if they're not lives, check out our studios. We also have some cool interviews planned. So I swear to God, we'll get better at this too. You might start to like the podcast even more. Think about that.
You might start to like the podcast. Shout out to our friend Nas. We missed you last week, Nas. Feel better. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We've got more coming down the line. We're going to do another giveaway for the other night at Goose Mess on our socials this week. So keep an eye out for that. And with that, hey, Garth, with that, have a great night, everyone.
Thank y'all. Love y'all.